Hi there, back again for the second part of the what to do about and with the crucial C's. And I told you last time that I was going to explain um, what you can do to deal with the different types of behaviour you get when people aren't feeling their needs. And we are talking mostly small people, but even us larger people can sometimes feel the need to connect and display certain slightly um, less helpful behaviours, shall we say. So let's get started. If I don't feel that I belong, I might start seeking attention. Now, with small people, that tends to be that little irritating mum, 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 dad, dad, dad kind of behaviour, where you're just settling down to read the paper or have a cup of coffee and somebody pops up. So when they demand attention like that, and then demanding doesn't have to be loud and aggressive, it can just be, I'm here, hello. And that's when we need to go to phase one. Now, phase one, ignore demands for attention. Now, I know that there are other schools of parenting kind of classes and things like that who say ignore and don't explain that ignoring can't go on for a long time or it becomes more part of the problem. So what we are doing here with this is very focused. And if you want to practice this, start it with one behaviour. Don't start doing it across the board because that's going to be hard work for you and the kids are going to go, whoa, what is going on? So start off with one thing. So make it something that happens, maybe the same thing every day and just pick that one thing to work on. Don't have to mention anything. This is all going on with you. This is not to do with kind of telling the children anything because that might complicate matters. So first of all, ignore. If you have to, because some children are very good at kind of mummy pulling your face to the right direction, you might need to remove yourself if it's safe to do so. Not remove yourself to, outside and leave them in the kitchen with hot boiling water and things like that. It might be that you have to move the children away from any dangerous things. So you might have to put them in the cot or wherever you put them safely when you need to go to the loo, for instance. Use that as a way of, if they're very small children. If you can move yourself, that's quite a lot better in some ways. So for older children where you know that they're safe for a minute, you might need to go and lock yourself in the toilet for a second. And as soon as that behaviour, and it doesn't take long, usually, as soon as that behaviour stops, i.e. they stop going mum, 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 then you can move on to phase two. Now, with attention-seeking behaviour and connection, as soon as you stop hearing that mum, 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 you go and give them attention. We don't have to run back and make a big song and dance about it. We don't get out the party poppers and the bunting. We just go, would you like a drink? Or shall we go and do some colouring? Or whatever you feel is appropriate at that time. But it's about giving them attention when they're not demanding it. And that is the bit where you start to kind of adjust their expectations of attention and how they go about getting it. So hopefully that makes a kind of sense. Now, when we go to capable and power struggles, that's a very different animal, really. That's power is a big thing, and power can be quite aggressive sometimes. And we think of power as the immovable object. I'm going to say no. Quite often, no is what 2-year-olds will say, isn't it? I don't want to. When they don't, when they feel like they don't have that capability and they're really desperate to find it. So with phase one, don't get in the ring. Don't get in the boxing ring with them, because as soon as you start going back and trying to explain or anything like that, it's, you meet an immovable object and the child will always win a power struggle, because what are you going to do? Okay, you can't make them. And even if you can pick them up and make them when they're small children, when they're 16 and they're 6'2" and they're bigger than you are, it ain't going to work. So it's really, really good at this young age to not engage in a fight with them. And I don't mean a fisticuff fight. I mean a verbal, a verbal battleground just as much. Phase 2 on this one is very different to the attention seeking. Give them a job that they can own. And when I say that they can own, I don't mean, right, you can take out the bin and, the rubbish and whatnot. Give them something that's worthwhile, because, we're going to get down to count in a minute, and that will kind of illustrate a bit more. But give them a job that they can do that's theirs. They can be in charge of it. It might be feeding the fish if you've got a fish tank, or the cat if you can show them how to do it and they're old enough. Maybe that's a job that they could do, or the dog, or whatever. Something that's worthwhile, and something to remember what we say: when they feel capable, they can take responsibility. And that's what we want them to do. And it may be that for older children, you can give them a choice. Would you like to help me do this, or would you like to do that? Having a choice is a ability to use their own power and then take responsibility for that choice. So it's a really, really useful one. So not punitive, but finding a job. And this might mean you have to think ahead of time. This is what I'm going to do. And it may just be, okay, I can see you're, right now you're really angry and you don't want to do this thing, but maybe later you can come up with an idea. One thing that I found with mine when they were small was, if I said, let's have a bath, I knew that somebody was going to go, no, I don't want a bath. So I kind of leapfrogged over that decision point and said to her, would you like to put the bubble bath in the bath? So we kind of sidetracked the I don't want to have a bath bit, and we'd gone to the bubbles, and she then could be capable of pouring. Occasionally we had quite a lot of bubbles, but that was another story, and that worked, because so we sometimes jump over the thing that you're going to have the bowel struggle with and go to the next thing in line. That can work. Okay, so the third one is count. And if I don't feel that I'm making a difference, or that I'm being noticed and valued as a person, then I might feel really hurt. And if I feel really hurt, I'm going to hurt others, because that's kind of a knee-jerk reaction almost if I'm feeling really hurt. The trouble is, sometimes you might feel hurt from something that someone did at school, and then you come home and you hurt mum because she's the safest and the closest. Or you might poke your sister or your brother, or, it's the I feel like kicking the cat kind of idea of, I just need to get rid of this. So revenge is about pain and hurt. And the first thing that we need to do with that is don't retaliate. And that is, when we feel hurt, if someone said, I hate you, then, that's a real ouch, isn't it? And we can be tempted to say, I hate you too. And that would be not a good thing to say, because it just underscores, you see, I don't matter. I'm not special in any way. And so it increases the hurt. And that's what we don't want to do. So hold on to the ouch. Get out your Band-Aid and put a sticker on your hurt. Take a breath. Because when they're in hurt, the other thing is when they're right in the middle of that hurt, that is not a good time to start trying anything, because they're just going to keep lashing out. Give them a bit of space, but not right then, off you go to your room. Just say, okay, I can see that you're not feeling very happy at the moment. Do you want to come back to me when you're feeling better, or can I come and talk to you later? And let them go off, or, stomp off up the stairs or whatever. Then phase 2 of that one is showing them that you love them. And I don't mean by loads of gifts. It might mean just going up to the bedroom with a cup of hot chocolate, or a couple of biscuits, or whatever you need when you just come home from school and you're feeling really rough and you've had a bad day. You know your kids, so that little thing is all it takes to show them that you love them, and to not go back and harp on about what has just happened. So we kind of move over it. It's not to say that we condone that behaviour, and if we get the chance when they're feeling a little bit more balanced, we can say, can we talk about that? It sounds like you've had a rough day. Would you like to talk about it? And see what happens. Inconsistency wise, if you can keep doing it, you might actually see that you get some response. Even small people, they could say, oh, my friend Johnny doesn't like me anymore, or he's gone off with my other mate, and they don't let me play with them today. They will be able to come to it, but not while they're full up and full on with that hurt. It has to kind of have to come down a bit before they can manage. So, going on, as you remember, courage. We need courage every day because we need to be able to handle all those everyday trials and tribulations and challenges that happen. And if we don't get that, then we start displaying signs of giving up and avoiding life, because we're trying to hang on to that last little shred of self-esteem. Okay, and this is when it gets serious. With most children, it will be fleeting. They'll feel a bit despondent and hopeless for a minute, and then they'll kind of pick up all their courage and their self-esteem and screw it back up into a ball. And if it starts to look worse than that, then that's when you really need to be concerned and maybe ask for some help from someone with some training. But first of all, phase 1. If you are faced with children who are giving up and feeling hopeless, you also are quite likely to feel quite hopeless and as if you need to give up, because what can you do? There's absolutely nothing to do. That's how it feels when you find yourself with a child who's feeling that despondent. So phase 1, do not give up, okay? That is really, really important. And phase 2, give them tasks that they can't fail at. So don't give up, and then don't give them something that they can fail at. Give them small tasks. So I can see you feel really rough today. Go and have a shower and come down when you're done, and we'll talk about it, or we'll have a cup of coffee, or let's get some dinner, let's have something to eat. It's not to belittle how hopeless or how awful they feel. It's about moving beyond that. And again, it's a bit like with the, do you want to put the bubble bath in? It's let's move on to the next thing. It's displaying your faith in them being able to continue doing stuff. And that's the small stuff that they cannot fail at, like washing themselves, making a drink or some toast, or putting their schoolwork away, or their bag on the, hanging up their clothes, or whatever. A small task that they cannot fail at. Always small. And if you can break it down into smaller bits, fab. Because that's what's going to kind of re-encourage them again. And this is what this is all about. If you haven't got courage, you have to be encouraged. And the secret to this one, mummies and daddies and other people who look after children and grown-ups, we need that ourselves. So we need to learn how to encourage ourselves. And if you notice, that's secret number 5, and we will get to that in another video. Anyway, I hope this one's been really useful, and I'll catch up with you later.